actually continuing the discussion to go along. And one of the things that came as an outcome of that particular meeting was we need to have some sort of a central location if we can, that bring all of these resources in one place so that those professionals who are in the trenches and touching base with families and with children every single day have at one click or one opportunity, who are my resources? Who can I connect these people with to help if I'm not able to do that? And so we're working on that based on thousands and thousands of sticky notes. It was a scary day when we left with those sticky notes because it was windy as we were walking across the street. We hope we didn't lose anything along the way. Alongside of that, Sarah mentioned that we've been working the last couple of years, and I think one of our challenges in the school district of La Crosse is that one of several challenges, by the way, is the recognition of mental health on behalf of our staff. It's sometimes difficult to see, to diagnose, much less to understand. And so what we've really done over the last couple of years is really forged a partnership, initially with Gunderson Lutheran Behavioral Health, but also inviting others as well. We're not trying to be exclusive on this because I don't think we want to be. We want to provide the resources to help our children. But what we've really done is really organized a little bit of a three-tiered approach that I think can help us provide supports for our children in our schools who do require mental health supports. But the first thing that we're really working on, first level, is to ensure that all of our staff over time have training from the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And so we've been working on that, and a lot of our staff, if not all of them, maybe have. I think we're making good progress there. Another one is QPR, question, persuade, and refer, and bringing that. And then once we get to that level, and we've completed level 1 in one of our buildings, in any one of our buildings, then we get to level 2. And level 2 is working to dip into our community to find a mental health liaison, a professional who works in mental health today, who can take on that school as a liaison. It doesn't mean that that person would practice in that school, but it means that that person would make himself or herself available. And this is a volunteer thing, but would make himself or herself available to answer questions. I know we've had some of our liaisons be available at parent-teacher conferences and be available for parents to ask questions about, I'm seeing this happen with my child. Is this something that should concern me? Or what suggestions do you have if my child does this, etc.? And that's been very helpful. And we're really in the middle of that. We've probably got about 4 buildings out of about 15 right now that have moved through that progression, and we're working on mental health liaisons. And our intent is to continue to move that forward so that we can make that more prevalent and available. The other piece that we're looking at, which is much more experimental and fraught with logistical challenges, but something I think is not insurmountable. And having experienced the therapy, is sometimes for myself, but also for my children, I know that even as a parent who could afford to drive my children back and forth to a therapy session, it was difficult for me because my children were going into school in a town that I didn't live in. And so one of the things that we've been exploring is, do we have an avenue by which we could allow someone who is providing therapy for one of our school students to do the therapy right in the school? Doesn't need to be done that way, and I think every case would have to be taken on, and it's kind of a different thing. In some cases, that just doesn't make sense and it won't work. But I'm also aware, given where we are in our community with regard to poverty and the circumstances that some families find themselves in, that if we don't provide that avenue, the therapy is not going to happen. And it's really what the child needs. And so we're trying to find ways to bridge that in such a way that we might be able to make that happen. What we run into are challenges with regard to some of our policies, which don't allow private entities to come into our schools and have access to our children for the purposes of making profit. And so we've got to work through some of those logistical things in our policies, but we're trying to work through that to see if that could happen. Because it's so important that those children who need that support actually get the support, and that we take away as many barriers as we can for that to happen. So in closing, I have to tell you, as your superintendent, I've seen a lot of great things in this community, You know, aside from the data I think that Joe provided for you, I can also tell you that one of the things that our students have shared with us in a recent survey that we did earlier this year really took me by surprise. Not just the ones that she shared, but several others as well. But one of them said was, one of the pieces of data suggested to us is that 56% of our students in school believe that the adults in the community don't care about them. And that's concerning to me, and it's alarming to me, because that's not who I run into. That's not who I see. Every parent I talk to really cares about their child. Parents who are coming to parent-teacher conferences care about their children. That's not what I see. But yet it's what our children perceive. And so I think it's an important piece for us, because I think it really rings true to what's most important. That's such a fundamentally important thing. When we talk about reading results, we talk about mathematics results and raising rigor. I'm going to tell you, if our children are coming to school every day without the hope, without basic hope in their heart, we have a long struggle in front of us. And that's what I find our teachers sometimes and our professionals in our buildings really struggling with. Sometimes those students who, for whatever reason, circumstances, have lost that hope. And it's our job to turn that upside down so that we can help that student along the way. So, I took 10 minutes. I'm sorry. I was against the rules. I had rehearsed, but that's what I have to say. Thank you so much.